drag you down a lot faster than you're going to bring them up, right? So back to Aaron, right? I remember when I got started, I wanted to make an impact, right? I wanted to make a difference. I was swinging a hammer on a construction site, and this guy named John came up, and he's like, dude, you got to take a look at this deal. And I was so negative, right? I was like, man, dude, I just don't have time. I got to get back to, swinging a hammer, and I got to get this $500 or whatever I was going to make from this construction job. And he came back like every day. Have you ever seen the guy, or maybe even if you're honest, been the guy who just won't give up? It's like if you cold call the guy 10 times, he says no, and you're just as pumped up about number 11. You know what I'm saying? That's what this guy was. This guy was just as pumped up for me to shut his butt down like the 10th time. But it was something about that 10th time he came back, and thank God he did, because I finally said yes, right? And I went and took the money from that construction job, and I got involved in that business. And unfortunately, and one of the reasons why we started this company was because I was in 2 companies before this that I had big teams, and the company owners broke a fingernail and decided to shut the door down. But, Aaron, when the first company shut down, I was putting, and you remember, honey, putting magnets on the side of this old 1990 Ford F-150 that I drove around. If you can imagine me, and you probably can, it's not hard, I look homeless still, but if you can imagine me driving around in an old 1990 Ford F-150 with the magnets on the cars, now we would be getting ready to go somewhere, and I would see that the magnet wasn't on the truck, so I'd run back in the house to get the magnet, and I'd bring it out, kind of hiding it behind my back because I didn't want her to see, and my daughter both rolled their eyes going, please don't. And I'd slap it on, and we'd pull up to the light somewhere, and I'd be so proud, hoping that somebody saw my advertisement, and they'd go, ooh, hoping that they didn't catch whatever I had, you know what I'm saying? But when that company shut down, right, I was on the computer, she owned the computer, I didn't at that time, and guys, this was just a few years ago. So I want you to really think, and I'm going to tell a couple more stories here over the course of this weekend that's really going to, as well as the stories that are told up here on stage, that I think is really going to open your eyes to how possible it is for things to change quickly in your life. To change quickly. Like within a weekend. Like within a decision. Right? So Aaron saw that I had a dream that was even bigger than I knew. And she let me use her credit card. Now, she's always had like perfect credit. It's like 1800. And she let me use her. Now, this was kind of a risk a little bit, too. A guy like me, your credit card, it doesn't, you know what I'm saying? I mean, she was nervous, and I don't blame her, right? So she let me use her credit card to go and buy a computer, and that's how I got started on the internet, right? And that was just, I think, something like 3-ish years ago, right? Maybe. Now, the cool thing is I paid that debt off. Right? I paid that debt off. And that was, yeah, it's okay. Clap up for a guy like me paying debt. That was probably one of the most important bills that I ever paid. Right? Because that's when I had made the decision. Now back to changing quickly. Do you know that you don't learn slowly? Do you know that you learn quickly? I want you to imagine, have you ever seen those cartoon books that they draw the little pictures and they just flip through the pages and you're able to see? That's how they actually make cartoons. Now I want you to imagine if I drew, which I can't draw, but let's just say I did, drew that picture on 100 different pages and gave it to you over the course of 1 year, and you tried to decipher what that message was. I want you to think about it if you could. Most likely you'd say, why are you handing me the same piece of paper over and over and over again? Because as you don't learn slowly, you learn quickly. You learn in an instant, right? I made a decision in an instant, and it changed my life, okay? Same thing happens with change. It happens quickly. So I want you to be aware of that this weekend, that in an instant, change happens. Right? And it's either change for good or it's change for bad. You're going to leave here a different person, right? It's on you to decide how you want to leave this event. Now, I'm supposed to be up here talking about how we just hit 120,000 members inside of the Power Network. But I decided to go on a rant because I thought that was more important, because here's the truth, right? Here's the truth. 120,000 members inside of the Power Network, compared to what we're going to do here in the future, is like a pimple on the freckle of a gnat's ass. Guys, that's small, right? And that's tiny. Not even the freckle, but the pimple on a freckle of a gnat's ass, right? So I mean, really, I think that we should celebrate 120,000 new customers. I do. Even more is the next 120,000, right? Because the truth is that we're just getting started, okay? We're just getting started. Now, I said something in Austin, and so did Dave.